Now, if you would have asked me a couple years ago, would I be starting a nonprofit farm or rescue or sanctuary? I'm not exactly sure the term. I would have told you probably not. But turns out a couple years ago, we moved out of the city, moved out here to, I guess, the country. We were able to purchase about 7 acres of land that used to be used as a pasture. The previous owner had 3 horses here, and we remodeled the house. Right, we definitely loved the land, but we weren't really sure what we were going to do with it. But by the time we went to move in, my wife had a friend who used to work at a stable. Long story short, they reach out to us and they say, "Hey, we have a horse at the stable. The owner can no longer afford to take care of them. We are wondering, would you guys take it?" Like, we don't know anything about horses. But my wife, being the sweetheart that she is, of course, she says yes. So after only living here probably for 4 or 5 months, a truck and horse trailer show up and drop off Rocco. Rocco was probably, I think he was like 22. He was old. But Rocco came to live with us. It was our first experience with a large animal. My first experience with a horse at all. I don't really know if Nat had ever been around horses before. If she did, it wasn't a lot. But, here we are. We're taking care of this animal that otherwise would have probably been put down. And it was really cool. It's cool to be able to watch him run around. It's cool to interact with him. He was well socialized, so you could pet him. Still had to be careful. Didn't want to get behind him or scare him, but we had no issues with him. And it was great. And sure enough, 2 months later, I don't even know if it was that long, the same stable called us and said, "Hey, we've got another horse. Her name's Callie. She has some issue with her back legs. She needs flat pasture to be able to walk around in order for her legs to heal." So we're like, great. Now we don't know what we're doing with one horse. Now we're going to have 2 horses. So, of course, we said yes. And, a couple of days later, here's Callie. And now Callie and Rocco are hanging out. So now we're taking care of 2 horses. And that's kind of where everything started. And we're like, well, maybe we could do this. Like, maybe if there's older animals or animals that need help, maybe they could come here. And that's really where the idea of starting a nonprofit really came from. I mean, granted, we love to help, but it's also, costly to care for large animals, vet bills, also just the equipment that you need. I mean, we've got a tractor that we use out there to, take care of all the land and the trees and everything, and a zero-turn mower. It's just a lot to keep up with. So we had the idea, and we kind of just were joking around about, well, maybe we'll start a nonprofit. Didn't really do much with it. The life has a certain way of creating other priorities for you. But really, over the past couple months, really ever since Diesel passed away. Diesel was our English bulldog who unfortunately passed away last November. There have been several instances where people have asked how they could help. So whether it comes up in talking like, "Oh, well, can I donate?" And we're like, well, not really, because we're not actually set up as a nonprofit. Then also there are things that we're just trying to do, and it's expensive. And right now we're just paying for all of it ourselves, and that's fine, but that obviously can only get us so far. So as we need to build new shelters, we just recently added a calf that I guess was abandoned from a dairy farm, and also a sheep or a goat. We're not really sure what Willow is. We think it's a sheep, but we don't actually know how we would tell the difference between a sheep and a goat. But anyways, got 2 new additions, and they're bottle fed. So I guess what happens, and this is new to me, is that dairy cows have to be pregnant or recently give birth to a calf in order to produce milk. So, but they don't want the calf drinking the milk. They want us to be able to drink the milk, right? They want it for commercial reasons. So they separate the calves from the mothers, and then the calves are kind of just like left on their own, and they're bottle fed. But if you don't make it, you don't make it. It is the way that I understand it. Now we took in 2 calves and Willow, the sheep goat, at the same time. So in order to do that, we had to build a little shelter. We had to fence it all in, and we had to bottle feed them. So we have Gracie, and then we had a calf named Faith. And Faith barely made it the weekend. She was very sick. We thought she was about a week younger than Gracie. Turns out they were the same age, but Faith was just, I guess, had issues from birth. So she made it 3 days. She made it through the weekend. On that Monday, we brought her to our vet, who gave her IV fluids and tried to, warm her up and nurse her kind of back to health, and she passed away. So that was very unfortunate, but the good news is that we've got Gracie and Willow, and they're both doing great. So all this to say, it just pushed us into actually going about starting a nonprofit, trying to get this up and running. And the cool thing is, my wife doesn't know that I'm actually doing this. She's asked me about it a couple times, but I started the process last week. I didn't tell her, wanted to surprise her. So if you're watching this, surprise. And if not, at some point you'll find it. So I'm very excited. She's 100% always trying to take care of everyone, everything. We used to always joke that if a baby got dropped off at our door, she would keep it and not even ask any questions. No baby's been dropped off, but now we've got a couple animals that have been dropped off. So we're really excited. We love being able to just be around the animals, but also it's a very good reminder that, life is fragile. One thing that I read not that long ago was the thing about farm life is that it brings survival and death right to your doorstep, because everything's trying to survive. And some things, in order for them to survive, it has to be at the demise of something else. So everything's fighting for resources, right? So it wasn't that long ago that Rocco passed away. And that was very sad and very unfortunate. It looks like, from what we understood, he kind of just, his heart just stopped and he just kind of fell over and died. We were at a basketball tournament. We were out of town. We were at a basketball tournament. We come home on Sunday and we found Rocco was dead. Also, Faith, the calf that we had her for 3 days, and then she died. But we also have, a tremendous amount of joy in life with Willow and Gracie and Callie. And then it just so happened that last month, tragically, our neighbor, who was only 34, died of cancer. And he had a horse, Phoenix. And his family came to us and said, "We can't take care of him. He's just too much. Can you take him?" So now we have Phoenix. So, there's this very almost primal cycle of life and death that we're witnessing and that the kids are witnessing. And if we can do something to help provide, either healing or care or just housing for a large animal, or maybe even small animals, I guess, that otherwise didn't have any shot, we're going to do it. So we're very excited about this. We're just in early stages. I'm going to try to document most of it and really share it. And hopefully you can kind of come along and experience the farm life. Everybody who comes out here is like, wow, this is really cool. But they don't really think it's possible for them. And there'd be a tremendous amount of barriers for other people to try to do this. So we're very fortunate. We're very lucky to be in the situation, to have the land, to have some of the know-how. Nat's a nurse. I've been, handy, let's say, for my whole adult life. So, I built the shelter for the animals, and we can do a lot of that stuff on our own. I have a lot of the tools and the equipment here. And, between myself and my friends and family, I'm pretty sure we can figure this stuff out. So we're excited. We're excited to start this adventure, Valentin Family Farm. I'm going to try to take you through exactly what I'm doing to incorporate. I started a nonprofit before, probably 10 or 12 years ago, so we'll see how similar it is. But, yeah, here we go. So follow along and and see where this takes us.